Plan. The United States federal government should substantially reduce direct commercial sales and foreign military sales of arms to the United States to Taiwan. Advantage of war. Trump is using arms sales to Taiwan as leverage on China's One China policy. Lopez 19. Disputes between the U.S. and China are headed towards escalation. The $2 billion arms sale digs out its wound during a delicate time, sure to antagonize Beijing, and Chinese representatives responded with a warning we urge the U.S. to stop selling arms to Taiwan and sever military ties to avoid serious damage to China-U.S. relations as well as to the stability of the Taiwan Strait because it touched upon China's core. By no means is this something that could be negotiated or uses the bargaining chip that's down for Taiwan because the more involved the country is with China, the more pressure China puts on it to wipe Taiwan off the map. U.S. administration tend to think that selling weapons to Taiwan helps political candidates show that they have support and can stand up to China. We may be slipping to a world that theory has to be tested in. This emboldens the hardliners of the DPP who use arms sales as a pretext for independence, inviting Chinese backlash and pushing the straits to the brink of war. Professor Pine 19. The flashpoint of the Taiwan President Tsai has pursued a moderate policy disappointing DPP supporters. President Xi delivered a speech in which he made it clear that China remains determined to seek reunification. One country, two systems. He refused to renounce the use of force to prevent Taiwan from seeking independence. The most dangerous conflict of China's Taiwan policy is that it raises tension with the U.S. Though the measure is likely symbolic, it has infuriated China. Proposals to U.S.-Taiwan defense cooperation to the deal. Why was China respond by ratcheting up pressure on Taiwan and insisting a highly dangerous dynamic at a time when U.S.-China relations are fraught? While China leaders break the cycle, we battle blows with the U.S. corrupt international conflict and dependently into the Chinese nationalism. NE 15 and creates a positive attraction with the rise in soft power, makes it easier for the regime to get defensive citizens of the country. Their national status is improving. The leadership attempts to appease domestic nationalist audience by gaining face for China abroad. The party state is publicized statements of support for foreign allies to demonstrate China's international status and their make bolster its moral control rule. Although national peace is a concept that is rather nebulous, to regular reference to official CCP statements, and that Chinese leaders are worried about and seek to improve it. But it's soft power enhancing regime security by making it less likely that adversaries who pose a threat to condition won't be able to obtain support from the local population, makes it easier for the state to deal with as a security threat they pose. De facto independence Taiwan would not be unreasonable to interpret soft power as something that could be applied to improve regime security by advancing the cohesion. When the values the CCP appeals to in order to justify its role or incompatible with the values associated with the soft power of other actors, however, Chinese attempts to build soft power become more competitive and defensive. And reunification the key to CCP legitimacy. March 18. Taiwan status as major implication for the Communist Party of China's legitimacy as the ruling party of China. Taiwan represents a threat to Beijing's system of governance and an alternative model for the Chinese people. Reabsorbing Taiwan must submit the People's Republic of China as the legitimate government of all of China and be considered a successor to the legitimate dynasties of the past. The People's Republic is security interests and reunification. Beijing thinks the U.S. or Japan could use the island to threaten and kissing China like they did in the past. Taiwan under reunification with the main reports apart for the CCP. We're taking Taiwan and Beijing turn politically to the consolidation with supporters of the party. Will ensure no other party could rejuvenate the Chinese nation. Washington should understand that tampering with the relations will have consequences of which comes to show over Taiwan. China might not blink, and CCP instability leads to nuclear war. Vaccine 5. We must prepare for biological weapons to succeed in the surprise attack on the U.S. The Chinese people will keep their losses on minimum. We can only move forward fearlessly for the sake of our party. The population, even important the half-dies, can be reproduced if the party fails. If everything is gone, the CCP will never step down. We'd rather have the whole world share life and death with us than step down. Since nuclear weapons have bound the security of the entire world, all will die together if the death is inevitable. So the party's life is above all else would not be surprised. The CCP resorts to the use of biological, chemical, and nuclear weapons. The CCP would not hesitate to kill 200 million Americans along with 700 or 800 million Chinese to achieve its ends. These speeches let the public see the CCP for what it really is. The CCP intent to wage a war against humankind is never attempt to clean the life and advance relations. China-U.S. tensions still on the brink, more fights ahead. Blanchard and Marina 629-18. China-U.S. fights a long road before they can reach a deal to end their bitter trade war with more fights ahead. Things are still very much up in the air. They remain widely part of the conceptual level. Trump's comments on Hawaii generally cautious welcome from China. Now comes the hard work of fighting consistently on the most difficult issues in the relationship. China's of the trade war as progressives become increasingly trying to say it would not be bullied, it would not give in to pressure, and that would fight till the end. We've said it before, communication friction between China and the U.S. is a long-term, difficult, and complex thing. And don't believe the hype. Trump is overly optimistic about Sino-U.S. relations, even though backlash is brewing in Congress against Trump's G20 concessions. Wayne 630. President Trump declared the U.S. was winning the trade war a day after reaching a temporary truce with President Xi. The move drew criticism back home, where many members of Congress agree that Hawaii is a threat to national security and don't want the company treated as a bargaining chip. Company's products could be used like for espionage by Beijing. A claim Hawaii denies that President Trump has agreed to reverse the recent sanctions against Hawaii. He has made a catastrophic mistake. Trump said Xi has also agreed that China could buy large amounts of U.S. agricultural goods, but Chinese official media reports said only that Trump hopes China will import more American goods as part of the trade war truce. And continued arms sales will be the death blow to U.S.-China relations. There are no law causes. We control the direction of uniqueness. War at 18. The trade war systematic change in U.S.-China relations. Taiwan is of great importance to Beijing. China considers the island now a self-ruled democracy, part of one China, dominated the U.S. and others accept that the U.S. has consistently refused to do so. Taiwan now only has 17 countries that recognize it as an independent country. Trump approved a $1.4 billion arms sale to Taiwan, which included advanced missiles and torpedoes. U.S. support for Taiwan remains a huge sticking point between Washington and Beijing. Compared with economic and trade issues, the Taiwan issue is a top priority in Beijing and is more politically sensitive. And good relations essential because they touch every part. World security from climate change to North Korea relations. Key grows 13. Federal relations with China would support wide-reaching political reform. They would undercut the repressive internal forces that legitimize one-party authoritarian rule. The U.S. can ensure that that China is a future partner and not a danger to the U.S. would avoid a military conflict with a foreseeable future. Other critical security benefits the U.S. and its allies include significantly reducing China's current and potential military threat to Taiwan, utilizing China's considerable influence with the North Korea to curb the U.S. nuclear weapon programs, allowing the U.S. to leverage China's capabilities for climate change, energy security, pandemic diseases, cyberterrorism, and nuclear proliferation, reducing the scope, scale, and scope of China's military modernization programs by discrediting the rationale for conducting a focused anti-U.S. buildup. By pursuing a diplomatic strategy, minimizes conflict, achieves greater mutually beneficial Sino-American cooperation, and warming causes extinction, triggers tipping points and positive feedbacks which make a planet uninhabitable. Climate 14. As global warming approaches and exceeds 2 degrees Celsius, there's a risk of triggering non-linear tipping elements, large-scale and sun-direct drastically affecting ecosystems, rivers, agriculture, energy production, livelihoods. We're on the track to a 4 degrees Celsius warmer world marked by extreme heat waves, declining global food stocks, loss of ecosystem biodiversity, and life-threatening sea level rise. There is no certainty that adaptation to a foreseeable world is possible. 4 degrees of warming could raise global sea levels by 1 or possibly even 2 meters. Brutal heat waves that can kill tens of thousands of people become entirely unremarkable summer events on every continent, but in Antarctica, the heat would also cause stable clocks to suffer dramatic yield losses across the globe. When you add ruinous hurricanes, raging wildfires, fisheries, collapses, widespread disruptions to water supplies, extinction of globe-trotting diseases to the mix, it indeed becomes difficult to imagine that a peaceful day society could be sustained. Plain mainstream analysts think that we are headed for even more than 4 degrees of warming, and we are actually on track for 6 degrees Celsius, 6 degrees of warming, likely to set in motion several major tipping points. Climate change has been an existential crisis for the human species, and advanced trade now is the key time arms sales. Taiwan will derail seeming U.S. trade talks. McRag 19. A round of weapons to Taipei would risk inflaming tension between the U.S. and China. The two countries remain locked in a trade fight. The sale includes Abrams tanks, anti-tank missiles, medium-range tactical. The value could be $2 billion. Trump approved a $1.42 billion arms sale in 2017 at a critical point in high-stakes trade negotiations. New weapons could become a big complicating factor in this dispute. Trump warned Beijing about another tariff if negotiators fail to reach a deal. China's Commerce Ministry reiterated that Beijing wouldn't shy away from responding to any U.S. escalation. And arms sales are the largest internal link to the escalating trade war. Only the plan resolves trade tension and the looming Chinese debt crisis. Walcott 6/24/19. Both sides are eager to force an escalating round of tariffs that is pushing China deeper into debt. One side, Trump wants to give economic peace a chance, that the fact that Moon Jae-in is holding up a final decision on selling advanced U.S. tanks and military equipment to Taiwan. We are formally considering arms sales to Taiwan. We urge the U.S. to see the severe harm of sales to Taiwan. My expectation is that we pass the window for a major deal on structural issues and a second and narrow agreement focused on reducing the trade deficit. Both China and the U.S. now have to strike even a modest agreement rather than continuing an escalating economic battle. China too has reason to play let's make a deal. Devalued by foreign-owned firms, and China has plunged into the trade war with trade fears, pushing companies to shift production. Beijing is counteracting the fall by pushing more domestic borrowing and restricting foreign lending. China's national debt is now equivalent to 254% of the country's gross domestic product, which means the country is edging closer to a debt crisis. Now open for crossings.
Why would China and the U.S. want to help climate change?
China and the U.S. would want to help climate change because onto our relations, we would see that good relations because the U.S. and China would cause us to start collaborating on things like climate change, meaning China would give more resources to helping climate change as well as work with the United States.
But why would those countries collaborate on climate change? Like the U.S. historically has been fighting against climate, like climate change reform, like the is investing under Trump. So why would the two countries want to collaborate?
Well, they would want to collaborate because of relations. Again, we talk about how U.S.-China relations are key are key right now, and us working on bipartisan movements like, for example, climate change is a way to step up our relations and our.
Can you elaborate on P19?
On what?
P19?
What?
Professor Pay.
Oh, yeah. Let me find him. Basically, what this card is talking about is that the main focus is going to be Taiwan. Talking about how President Xi is really focusing on the fact that he says that he will renounce the use of force to basically stop Taiwan from seeking independence. We talk about how, for example, once we sell arms to Taiwan, it makes China get mad and basically ratchet up pressure on Taiwan. So us selling arms is really causing China to continue to escalate conflict within Taiwan's region.
Why is reunification key to the CCP's legitimacy?
Reunification is key to the CCP's legitimacy because China has a long past with Taiwan. For example, China still feels like Taiwan is part of their country, and having the CCP finally reunify Taiwan would show them as a real and legitimate political party.
aren't they already like a legitimized party? Why would the reunification be necessary to legitimize an already legitimate party?
I mean, you can argue that in the eyes of China, sure, maybe they're the party now, but they aren't at the point of legitimacy like they could be. For example, we talk about how once they reabsorb Taiwan, China could be, the CCP could be considered a successor to the legitimate dynasties of the past. So it would basically establish a legacy for the CCP in China's history.
All right. Wouldn't China want to go to a war with Taiwan if they are not protected?
We talk about how U.S. and American relations overwrite that, about how if the CCP is unstable, for example, with our trade, if China's debt goes low, we would see that the CCP would lead to nuclear war that would erect some pipeline.
All right. And doesn't ending arms sales to Taiwan signal the fact that we've ended supporting Taiwan?
Ending arms sales, what do you mean by that?
Well, if we end arms sales to Taiwan, it's signifying that we don't support Taiwan anymore. We're not doing anything else. We're not supplementing arms sales with any other kind of protection.
Last time.
Any prep?
So it's going to be the case in order of war where they cease trade and the two off.
Why are we putting case first? Why are we putting case first?
To answer their offense.
You should make your own offense first. You should go two up and then case.
Okay, anyone not ready? Counterpoint text. The State Department of the United States should off arms sales to off sales to Taiwan to People's Republic of China if only the People's Republic of China doesn't agree not to invade Taiwan. We'll say yes to grand bargain, Grady 19. President Trump's trade deal with Taiwan tensions obviously answer for President Trump. President Xi settled the matter of the grand bargain. The President Beijing's reunification in the U.S., but ushered Taiwan to reunification of one under two systems, returning China with some manipulating its current currency and distorting its economy and eliminating the vast trade surplus in the U.S. trivial area. Such a deal is surely possible. More of the Chinese claim to Taiwan is difficult to argue with. Ensuring Chinese sovereignty, security, interest development is the social system, the way of life Taiwan is fully respected. And now to team. First interpretation is substantial reduction in sales of 10 to 30%, no off 14. A substantial reduction in sales may be limited only 10 to 30% of sales and violation. Taiwan only makes up 5.7% of sales of RONI 18. Who by do so of Taiwan 5.7%. Now to standards. First is limit the after definition makes the burden to negative about everything in the question gives the negative huge disadvantage because no one will about 60 hours a week lead up to turn because of the unfair definition. Next on ground, that makes it an unfair world where the next cover impossible ground where the after rule dictating the neg. And then next, predictable limit. The neg was to assume that debate would be over a fair definition, a reasonable definition, yet the after treated unpredictable limits is the topic. Now the topic education, more limited debate is good for education because it allows for more in-depth debate on both sides which are well researched. Now to case. First on board, no Taiwan hardliners say they're going to lose the 2020 election, January 18. The mayor of the presidency in Taiwan has momentum in the supplementary role as Taiwan British president announced that he would join the KMT's presidential primary. Since Han indicated he wouldn't join the primary, KMT will have to decide between a kind of coordination of WaRu restoring special procedure and NC Han. Han is almost friendly with the Beijing, the current DPP government. He has not been afraid that LA and pro-DPP voted in the Kusagi. WaRu they was 35.6% support in theory raised to Taipei Mayor Guo Yan. And no no CCP collapse or misunderstanding Chinese system leads to flawed prediction. October 15. Neither China nor Communist Party is cracking up China's free expression of civil society and not a sign of weakness. It's only thing that shows confident success of China's authority capitalist model, and I reject the idea that China is making concessions to liberal democratic ideas to keep going. There's no evidence that the biggest and most harmful constituent in China is rising urban bourgeoisie. Has much history in the chain system, and no affiliation or drawn in the South China Sea, Taylor 14. The South China Sea is not a flashpoint. It's hard to envision a credible scenario where skirmishes to South China Sea could erupt in a conflict of similar proportions. The national foundation of these is fundamentally different from those underpinning East Asia's tradition of proximity, militates against the genuine proximity, inhibit the willingness and ability to advert to a war. These general afford the same greater time and space and find diplomatic solutions. And no nuclear escalation, too many pathways, Timeline 17. Estimating from conventional nuclear war coming from a variety of pathways, the country's minimal nuclear posture combining with the centralized control of the nuclear weapons and long-standing no first use pledge makes scenario fairly plausible. US-China conflict scenario exclude the problem of nuclear escalation altogether. The general reason for neutral, the term prevails in use strategic nuclear relationship. And US only must stop from China from taking over Taiwan easily 16. Abandoning Taiwan will not stop Chinese military modernization at this area denial development to target US base in Japan, South Korea, and Chinese missiles. The Chinese side pursued their interests more certainly. U.S. amendment of the Taiwan One Tail replacing Taiwan Relation Act. U.S. amendment of Taiwan likely make the Chinese decision makers believe they could strengthen their claim to East China and South China Sea by considering by giving up the military benefit and incurring unnecessary strategy. And ending ourselves that Taiwan increases the threat of China-Taiwan conflict. Read 17. U.S. arms of Taiwan directly affect both the cause of Taiwan threats to playing cross-strait military conflict, probability of China going to conflict. Arms sales to Taiwan see that some love U.S. commitment to island to extend the arms that Taiwan would do, in fact, increase confidence in Beijing and Taiwan in the United States. So basically, in this term, the war relation impact of China were trying to invade Taiwan. If we argue that it would lead to China would